Jeepers New History.
Chapter 1: The Road Trip. Samantha and her brother, Alex, were on a road trip through the countryside. They were heading to their aunt's house, who lived in a small town several hours away. Samantha was excited to see her aunt, but Alex wasn't too thrilled about the trip. As they drove down the deserted road, Samantha noticed a strange old truck behind them. It had a rusty, beat-up look to it, and the driver seemed to be following them. Samantha didn't think too much of it at first, but as they continued driving, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Eventually, the truck pulled up alongside them, and Samantha could see the driver's face through the window. It was a man with a strange, almost inhuman appearance. His eyes were unnaturally large, and his skin had a pale, sickly tone to it. Samantha felt a shiver run down her spine as she looked at him. The man in the truck motioned for them to pull over, but Samantha and Alex didn't want to stop. They continued driving, but the truck stayed behind them, keeping pace with their car. As they approached a deserted church on the side of the road, Samantha suddenly saw something drop from the sky and crash into the church's roof. She couldn't tell what it was, but it made a loud thud that echoed through the surrounding countryside. Samantha and Alex decided to investigate, thinking that it might be a fallen tree or some other kind of debris. They pulled over and cautiously approached the church. As they got closer, Samantha noticed that something was sticking out of the roof. It looked like a large, twisted wing, and as she looked closer, she could see that it was covered in feathers. Suddenly, the man in the truck appeared behind them, startling Samantha and Alex. He explained that he was a hunter and that he had been tracking a creature that had been terrorizing the area. He told them that the creature was called the Creeper, and that it only emerged every 23 years to feed on human flesh. Samantha and Alex were skeptical, but as they looked at the twisted wings sticking out of the roof, they couldn't deny that something strange was going on. The hunter offered to help them get to their aunt's house safely, but Samantha and Alex were hesitant to trust him. They didn't know what to do, but they knew that they had to keep moving if they wanted to make it to their destination alive. As they got back into their car and started driving, Samantha couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She looked out the window and saw something moving in the shadows, but she couldn't tell what it was. Suddenly, the car's engine sputtered and died. Samantha and Alex were stranded on the side of the road, and they knew that they were in serious trouble. Chapter 2: Trapped. Samantha and Alex were stuck on the side of the road with a broken-down car. They were miles away from any town or gas station, and the sun was starting to set. Samantha's heart was racing with fear as she looked out into the surrounding darkness. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound coming from the woods. It was a low, guttural growl, and it seemed to be getting closer. Samantha and Alex huddled together in the car, afraid to move or make a sound. They heard something scratch against the roof of the car, and Samantha could feel the car rocking back and forth. She knew that the creeper was nearby, and she was terrified. Just as suddenly as it had appeared, the creeper vanished into the darkness. Samantha and Alex were relieved, but they knew that they couldn't stay in the car all night. They had to find a way to get help. They decided to walk down the road in the hopes of finding some kind of shelter or assistance. As they walked, they heard strange noises coming from the surrounding woods. Samantha's heart was pounding with fear as she imagined all kinds of horrific creatures lurking in the shadows. They eventually came across an abandoned house. It was old and run down, but it offered some shelter from the night's chill. Samantha and Alex cautiously made their way inside, but they could feel something watching them from the shadows. The house was full of cobwebs and dust, and it seemed like no one had lived there for years. Samantha and Alex tried to make themselves comfortable, but they couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't alone in the house. As they settled in for the night, they heard strange noises coming from the basement. It sounded like something was moving around down there, but Samantha and Alex were too scared to investigate. Suddenly, they heard a loud crash coming from upstairs. They cautiously made their way up to the second floor, but they couldn't see anything out of the ordinary. However, as they turned to go back downstairs, they saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was the creeper. Its eyes glowed in the darkness, and its twisted wings rustled as it moved closer. Samantha and Alex were frozen with fear as the creeper approached them, its claws extended. Just as the creeper was about to attack, the hunter from earlier burst into the house. He had followed Samantha and Alex and had tracked them to the abandoned house. He aimed his gun at the creeper and fired, but the creature was too fast. It vanished into the darkness, leaving Samantha and Alex alone with the hunter. The hunter explained that he had been tracking the creeper for years. He knew everything there was to know about the creature and how to kill it. Samantha and Alex were relieved to have someone with them who knew how to fight back against the monster. They spent the rest of the night huddled together, afraid to sleep. The creeper was still out there, somewhere in the darkness, and they knew that they weren't safe. To be continued in Chapter 3.